I had a moment this week where it was with a work thing, and I was just feeling very kind of just like overlooked or like not acknowledged, I think maybe is a better word to say, or disregarded.
Okay.
Like my opinion or like my thought or whatever was just being like, okay, anyway. And it wasn't like this like major like catastrophic kind of thing, but it's happened a couple times. No, that's a lie. It's happened a lot of times. And anyways, it kind of just is what it is because there's not really much I can do about it because it's not, I'm just an employee, like it's not my business. But I did speak up for myself in the moment to like a point where I felt like I could, which is half the BGP moment. And then like the other half of the BGP moment is that like I didn't fully respond the way that like I actually wanted to. You know why? Because my full response that like I had like drafted and edited and ready to go in my head,
I know you had
would have given like major red flags. Like,
okay.
It would have given Black Cat like to the extreme, you know? Yeah.
Okay.
It would have been petty. Honestly, it would have been petty.
Okay.
If I had like really gone there.
So tell me, what held you back? Was the Holy Spirit working on your heart? Like what happened?
Probably. Probably. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Also advice from EJ. But it just wouldn't have gone anywhere productive if I had, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I know that even the response that I did give and like sharing my thoughts and stuff still isn't really going to go anywhere productive. Just because I know that like the situation's not going to change. Like nothing's going to change. And I know that. But I also just didn't feel right in the moment not addressing anything at all. I don't know. It was a weird balancing thing, to be honest.
Priya has a tendency to always feel like she has to say her piece. Especially when it comes to work.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it can be a hindrance.
The thing is, I don't, though.
Yes, you do. That's like one of your MOs.
Not an MO.
You always want to get off. Like I like you need to know how I feel.
No, I disagree. I think I come home and I talk about it because it happened, and so I'm thinking about it. But the majority of the time when stuff happens, I don't actually say anything about it, like in the moment or like to the people involved in the situation where it would actually count. But yeah, I say it all to you
at first, but then you don't, and then you let it fester, and then you end up at this moment of now I got to say everything that I've been feeling.
But I've literally never done that. I've never just been like, this is all pent up and now I'm just going to like unleash.
I think though, you guys are getting caught up in what unleashing looks like.
Yeah, I don't mean going off.
Yeah.
But I mean like you want to get your point out. Like you want someone to understand how you feel about a situation.
Because you've never.
And if you don't, sorry, Shayna.
No,
and if you don't, you feel like you feel a sense of unresolved or like a lack of, I don't know if closure is the right word.
Interesting. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Because I'm not.
Well, because I see where EJ is coming from, because I think about all the emails I've read over the years from you to bosses. And that's your version of unleashing.
I love having backup. when you just said that's never happened, I was like playing it in my head. I was like, which scenario can I say?
Okay, you're talking about like the crazy boss that I had when we were living in Hamilton.
I'm not just talking about that though. I'm talking about situations where, I mean, obviously I'm not going to air it, but like situations where you have literally unpacked it, whether it was in a letter or an email or just like
text
or verbally, like you're like these things all need to, sorry, all these things need to get addressed. And it's not unhinged in any way. It's actually rather professional, but you will hit every point. Like you won't miss. Like at that point
Maybe I'm
in
just
time,
trying to be thorough.
No, you are thorough queen, pop off. But like you're always, you're gonna hit them all. Like you collect them all. You're not like, I'm gonna just address this one, but let the other 5 slide. You're like, since we're addressing, here you go. But I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And I think it's interesting that, for your moment, you're saying that you could have been more hardcore and you weren't. I also, though, I will say I've admired about that I've admired that about you over the years. I really have. Because I think you do a good job of communicating and saying, this is the boundary. This is what I did. This is how you didn't measure up per se, or like, this is what I expected and I didn't receive that. And this is why it's now caused a problem. You're so good at that. And I genuinely have always admired that. So to hear you with this moment, I'm like, okay, like I like to hear it because I would never. I would go on in silence and suffering forever and ever and ever.
See, like, okay, so like I'm like taking what you said, but I'm also taking what you said, and then I'm trying to find where I am in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle.
I mean, you must be. We're talking about you. I hope you are.
I'm literally in the middle.
Yeah, I'm literally.
Yeah. No, but I'm in the middle trying to figure out where I am in terms of it, like being like a good thing or like a strength, but then it also being like a negative thing and a potential like.
Do we think EJ said it as a negative thing though?
I think you did.
Not negative. But I'll ask you this, Shayna.
Okay.
Do you think that trait that Priya possesses is necessary in every situation that she feels like she's being wronged or misvalued, or do you think it's more important to differentiate which relationships you should do it with and it matters versus do it in all of them? Because I think my point was I don't think your boss needs that. To me, unnecessary.
Which is why I don't.
Yeah.
Wait, which is why you don't?
But you have before though.
You mean this time, like your BGP moment?
Specifically
this is why you didn't, is what you mean?
Yeah, because I just like
you let it roll off your back. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no point.
Okay, so to answer the question, I don't think you need it in every situation and scenario, but I've also watched you learn when to apply it more and more. I think way back when, like, I think you've always had the desire. I do think it's closure. I think you've had the desire to feel heard and thought, addressed well and all those different things. Respected even, all of that. But I do think that you have been, I think you don't need it as much as you used to. And so I think you put yourself in situations to seek it out less and less. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, so that would be my kind of answer to that. But that's why I'm so curious about what made you think that that's why this is a BGP moment for you.
I think it's because now that we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it, I think it's maybe specifically because I was trying to find like that middle ground. I do feel like it's worth like something being said here.
Yes.
And to be perfectly honest, not even so much the fact that something is worth being said here for my own personal well-being, but like professionally speaking, like job wise, I feel like something is worth being said, like for the good of the like business or the company or whatever. So that to an extent, but like where's the line, you know, where it crosses into like me just wanting to feel heard for my own self, right? And I think that like I think that I stayed on the other side of the line.
Yeah.
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 Because I did want to say more, a lot more, but again, there just wouldn't have been a point. And like I may have felt better after, but like for what?
Yeah. That's a huge maturity point though. Again, to know
so.
that something makes you feel good and still decide, but it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that is something that in your younger years, you would have been like, well, since I'm addressing something, may as well lay it all out. You would have.
Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And in my mind, I guess that's what EJ was kind of saying too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that that's really cool. And again, I have to affirm you in this. I do think that it's really great that you have always been able, like you stand up for yourself. I feel like you do. Sometimes you don't get there very quickly.
Yeah.
But you do get there. And I'm proud of you for that. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm proud of you for that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? I feel like when I get to the point of like actually being ready to stand up for myself, I feel like because it took so long to get myself to that point of being ready to stand up for myself, it becomes really easy for me to like very quickly start to just like head downhill.
Yeah.
And it becomes
like, and another thing.
Yeah. And it becomes like not standing up for myself anymore. And I'm just like, we're about to get petty. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. You said
but not so much anymore.
No, because we're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm proud of you.
Slowly.
Slowly but surely.
But surely. Yeah.
Something else you said though, I probably made a face about it too, honestly. Because you were saying, you basically said, well, I don't know if I needed to address it. I'm just an employee. And I beg to differ. Like, I think that mindset, and I think that's how you've ended up in situations where now you get to the petty point, is because you take on a lot of things. And I think we all do this, where we're thinking, well, I'm just an employee. And you let things happen to you in workplace situations that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And the idea of being just an employee is so diminishing of your value and what you have to offer that business or company. At the end of the day, they're nothing without you. If all the employees were to say, I don't like how you're treating me and up and leave, what would they be left with? So yeah, don't never say, well, you know, I'm just an employee. You're not just an employee. There's a reason we have employees. They make the business work.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, it diminishes your value. Jesus didn't die for that. He didn't. He didn't. So yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's my 2 cents.
You're not wrong.
I know.
Okay. Thank you.